we are here with Michael Bartison, the
Yeah.
chief designer.
Yes.
Am I correct? Yes.
Yes, in a way. No, I think that what we have in our group of people are people with all kinds of inputs. I'm just the one that collects and maybe creates the product from information you get from all around.
Okay.
It's I'm actually not a very good designer, but I'm very good at seeing potential and stealing things.
Okay.
So whenever somebody poses an idea, maybe I can reshape it into something that fits into us.
Okay.
So now we have a design team which is basically Lars next door and Flemming Rasmussen and me. And it's always a collaboration when we create stuff.
Okay.
So maybe I'm on the technological side a lot, and Flemming is on the physical design, how it's going to
The product
look,
design.
and Lars is sort of like floating all over that.
All over.
But in this room we have new entry level speakers. Basically, these are called X3,
Okay.
and it's for us to see. There's always when you work in a company, there's always this challenge. It's not very difficult to do something when every door is open. If you want to 3D print something at a very high cost, you can do that. But when you're within a budget and want to make a speaker that retails around 10,000 euros,
Things are different.
Things are very different. So this is sort of like how far can we bring something in a more modest price level?
Okay.
So this is our grand effort into that, and I think it's a very, very technological advanced product. We have carbon spread toe membranes, which are with a honeycomb sandwich. So we get on one hand a very, very stiff membrane.
Okay.
But with a spread toe, we also get a very uneven stiffness. That means that it's impossible to have ring resonances in the membrane. And that pushes up the first fundamental way above where the driver is used. And what we get from that is maybe we spend a lot on the membrane, but we get something that has unparalleled clarity because there's simply no cluttering. There's no absorption of energy into the membranes. There's no resonances that we need to dampen in the crossover. So it's a very, very good way of making a good foundation for creating a speaker.
Okay. And as always, is built in-house.
It's built in-house, yes.
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 And what about the tweeter?
The tweeter is an adapted version of the tweeter we use in the top of the line as well.
Okay.
What I've done there is I have scaled down on the amount and the thickness of the neodymium used. And neodymium is very much a cost driver in drivers. So when you can make half the cost on the magnet side in a tweeter, you can still make a more affordable product with almost the same performance.
Okay.
So this is what we use in this speaker.
What about the electronics?
Here is we have a pre 280, a power 280, a streamer 280, and a DAC 280.
Okay.
And all is of course fed with our D series of cables, D2.
And what is the technology inside the amplifiers?
It's an UMAC Class D.
Okay.
Which is sort of like an advanced Class D. And the difference in the UMAC and other Class Ds is that normally you use a triangle as a carrier wave, but here we use sines as a carrier wave, and that means that we have not the same sharpness in the corners of the carrier. That means we have less high frequency content. And when you have less high frequency content, you need to filter away. You can use softer filters.
Okay.
And that create an output stage that has quite low output impedance, so that means it has very good control over the speakers, which is something that most Class D amplifiers lack, and that's why they become colorless and lifeless. This is not the case with these.
Is this the same technology applied in the previous amplifier?
Yes,
okay.
it is same technology.
Okay.
Yes, it's when you go from one generation to the next generation, you take what's good, and then you improve around it, or if what's good has a higher potential, then you make a love to that a little bit and make it.
But is it the old generation still in production or not?
I
remember the integrated.
The U380.
Yeah.
No, we are phasing that out of production.
Okay.
We have a few units in stock, but that's it. These are taking over, and then outside you saw we have the new Class A, are taking over from the older series.
Okay. Let's talk something about the new amplifier.
The new amplifier is the first collaboration between Fleming and I.
Okay.
Yeah, and we started that about a year ago, something like that. When we heard, I had a talk with Fleming and asked him, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not doing much. Basically, I have retired."
Retired, yeah.
And said, "You cannot retire, Fleming. You need." So we invited Fleming in to be part of our design group, and I think he's very happy to be part of this, because this is sort of like an adventure. We are in a process of building and growing and developing new products, new technologies, new designs, and I'm very happy to have.
I think it's
Fleming
very very exciting to work with.
Yeah, but it's also have something. So it's a little bit. I'm an engineer, so I'm very good at making things and making sure that every hole fits the other holes and all this.
Yes.
So I'm very good with and very skilled in my in computer design work. But Fleming is an artist.
Is an artist.
Yeah. So he brings that stupid idea that I would never get. He brings that, and because I have this way of seeing his idea, I'm very fast of adapting them, and then I polish them a little bit, and then we get a cooperation of lines and ideas and structures and shapes.
So somehow you are complementary.
Yeah, we are very complementary. I'm sort of like, if you look at churches, he's a Catholic. In a Catholic church, everything is golden and big and bold, and I'm sort of like the Protestant, where everything is sort of taking out all these fancy things we don't want. It's just the bare essentials. So
the problem is to find the way in the middle.
I don't think it's a problem in any way.
Okay.
It's just that I think that the span I can work within has increased, and Fleming can bring ideas into our products that I could never bring into products.
Okay. Great.
So also because he has a reference in the field and in the business, what he sees and what he sees as a potential, what he knows works, is different from my side of the business.
Can you show me the amplifier?
Yeah, of course I can show you. It's outside.
No music?
Yes. Yeah. But this guy can do the music. But you need to sit in the middle front.
So here we are.
You see, this is the integrated 200 watt class A amplifier, and this is the first collaboration between Fleming and I. This is what I talk about, the lines and the ideas and the structures that are sort of like it's bolder, it's brighter, and my job is to make it still sleek and elegant and Scandinavian. So this is where the tensions meet, and I think create something beautiful.
Absolutely outstanding.
And what I can bring to this is also knowledge about materials, what makes things perform in a good way. So we build all that knowledge into this as well.
And is it playing in the room?
It's playing in here.
Okay.
But as a preamp power.
So we can wait.
Yeah, this what we have in here is where you came from, is sort of like where we start. This is our entry. But this here is how good we can get.
Okay.
This is the best cables we can make. This is the best amplifiers we can make. This is the best monitor speaker we can make.
Okay. Let's wait and see.